Good morning or good afternoon, Doctor. My name is KHOO with matrix number 293892. My group will be presenting the title, The Education Performance of SQS Graduate During Their University Life for the group assignment. Members in this group are Tan Hong Ying, HUITIAN, Chua Yun and our leader, PHILICIA Liu Ni Wei.
First, introduction, background of study. As we all know, education is really important for a person. This is because education will not only help a person to gain knowledge, but it also help a person to have the chances to get a job. Most of the people believe that a higher education level with good result may affect the employability as well as the salary paid by the company. That's why our group conducted this study to obtain information from SQS graduates at YUAN. Next is the objective of study. For this study, we have 5 objectives. The first is to describe the demographic of the respondent, which is the frequency of program, gender, ethnic, state, entrance qualification, SPM Maths, SPM English, YUAN, total semester, total SEM status, working status, working sector, type or level of work, working experience, CGPA, and salary. And the second is...
Next, I'm going to talk about methodology. In this research, the sampling method that we use are simple random and systematic. For our graphing method, we use the bar chart. Next, we also use some measures of central tendency in this research, which are mean, mode, and median. There are also measures of dispersion we are using in our research, which are range, interquartile range, standard deviation, and variance. We also draw a...
Now I will proceed to the objective 1, which is to describe the demographic of the respondent. First is the frequency of program. From the graph and the table above, we can know that the program decision science contains the highest frequency compared to the others two, as it consists of 172 out of 340 graduates. The scale of measurement is nominal because there are 3 programs in SQS, and the data is discrete data as it is measured in categories. Lastly, the central tendency that can be... Next is the frequency of gender. From the graph above, we know that the number of female graduates is higher than the male graduates, which consists of 233 out of 340. The scale of measurement is nominal because there are 2 genders. This data is discrete data and is measured in categories. And the central tendency that can be determined here is mode. Next is the frequency of ethnic. From the graph and the table above, we know that the frequency of ethnic Chinese graduate is the highest, which consists of 121 out of 340, which is 35.59%, while the Indian is the lowest, as it consists of only 41 out of 340 and 12.06%. The scale of measurement is nominal because there are only 4 ethnic in SQS, and the data is discrete data because the ethnic is measured in variable. Next is the frequency of state. From the graph and table above, we know that the number of graduates came from Perak is the highest. It consists of 10% out of 100, while from the police is the lowest, which is 2.35% out of 100. The scale of measurement is nominal because it's classified into 14 hometown. The frequency of the hometown is discrete data because the hometown is measured in variable, and the central tendency can be seen is smooth. Followed by frequency of entrance qualification. The entrance qualification of graduates from STPM has the highest frequency, which is 52.94%, while from others has the lowest frequency, which is 7.35%. The scale of measurement is nominal because they are using 5 entrance qualification. The frequency of the entrance qualification is discrete data because the entrance qualification is measured in categories. The central tendency can be determined in smooth. And now we continue with the frequency of total SEM status. The number of students graduate on time is the highest, whereas for the fast track is the lowest. The scale of measurement is nominal because the total STEM status is measured in categories, and the central tendency can be determined from the graphs is the mode. Next is the frequency of working. Based on the graph and the table, we know that the number of graduate working are higher than non-working. The graduate working consists of 99.41%, while the non-working just consists of 0.59. They are appealing of two non-working this because they are still a student. And the measurement of skill is nominal because it consists of yes or no. The frequency of the working status is discrete data because the working status is measured in category. Based on the graph, we know that is the frequency of type or level of work. From the graph and the table, we know that the most number of type of work is executive, which consists of 249%, while the least is the student, which consists of only 2%. The scale of measurement is nominal because there are 6 types of work, which are executive, lecturer, miscellaneous, director, teacher, and student. The frequency of the types of work are discrete data as it can be divided into 6 categories. The central tendency that can be easily seen from Next is a CGPA. Most of the graduates have the CGPA range of 2 to 2.99, which is 143 graduates, whereas the CGPA range of 3.67 to 4 has the least number of graduates, which is 69 graduates. The data used in this graph is quantitative data. The scalar of measurement is ratio because there is natural zero. The frequency of CGPA is continuous data because it can be measured. From the table, we know that lastly is the salary. Most of the graduates have a CGPA range of 2.0 to 2.99, which is 42.06%, whereas the CGPA range of 3.67 to 4.0 has the least number of graduates, which is 20.29. The data used in this graph is quantitative data. The scale of measurement is ratio because there is existence of natural zero. The frequency of CGPA is continuous data because it can be measured. And based on the table, we know that the minimum salary is
Objective 2. To analyze and compare CGPA between gender, entry qualifications, program, ethnic, total semester status, working sector, and type of work. From the relationship between CGPA and gender, the graph uses its box plot. The median CGPA for the male is 3.12, whereas for female is 2.82. The quarter 3 for male is 3.67, whereas obtained by female is 3.44. It shows that male achieve better CGPA than female. In conclusion, the box plot for male and female show that it's right skew. From the histogram, it shows that the relationship between CGPA and entry qualifications. The number of the graduates getting the CGPA within 2 to 4 in STPM is the highest, which is 180 out of 340. The number of the graduates which have the lowest frequency is STAM at CGPA 3.67 to 4, which is 4 graduates. From the histogram above, it shows the relationship between CGPA and program. It shows that the program of decision science obtained the highest CGPA at 2 to 2.99, which is 71 graduates. Besides that, the program of statistics at the CGPA of 3.67 to 4 obtained the lowest frequency, which is 16 graduates. The histogram above shows the relationship between CGPA and NA. From the histogram, we can see that Chinese from the CGPA of 3.67 to 4, 3 to 3.66 have the highest frequency, which are 35 and 49 respectively, whereas for Malay from the CGPA of 2 to 2.99 obtain the highest frequency, which are 53 graduates. Indians obtain the lowest frequency in CGPA of 3.67 to 4. From the graph above, show the relationship between CGPA and total SEM status. It shows that the graduates that graduate on time obtain the highest frequency at CGPA 3 to 4, which are 183, where for the CGPA at 2 to 2.99 show that the highest number of graduates who extend are 73. Besides that, the total semester status of fast track at the CGPA 2 to 3.66 has the lower frequency, which are 32. The histogram above shows the relationship between CGPA and working status. It shows that the graduates who are working have the highest frequency in CGPA 2 to 4 compared to the graduates which are not working. The graduates which are working has the frequency of 338, whereas which are not working has 2 graduates. The histogram shows the relationship between the CGPA and working sector. The range of CGPA in 2 to 2.99 which work in public has the highest frequency, which are 107 graduated, whereas the lower frequency is in the CGPA of 3 to 3.66 of graduated who work in public, which has 2 graduates. The histogram above shows the relationship between the CGPA and level of work. Most of them who work as executive have the highest frequency in the CGPA of 2 to 4, which have 249 graduates. The low frequency in the CGPA of 3.67 to 4 who work as a teacher, 2 graduated who is a student in the CGPA of 3 to 3.66, whereas the low frequency in the CGPA of 2 to 2.99 is maturelessness who only have 21 graduates.
Our third objective is to analyze and compare salary between gender, program, ethnic, working sector, and type or level of work. This histogram shows the relationship between salary and gender, while gender is qualitative, discrete, and nominal data, and salary is quantitative, discrete, and nominal data. Okay. From the histogram, we can clearly see that most of the graduate people are having a salary range of 2,580 ringgit to 3,659 ringgit, and also the range of 3,660 ringgit to 4,000. This histogram shows the relationship between salary and program. The data of program is qualitative, discrete, and nominal, while the data of salary is quantitative, discrete, and nominal. Okay, based on this histogram, most of them who are taking decision science and business maths are having a salary range of 2,580 ringgit to 3,659 ringgit and 3,660 ringgit until 4,739 ringgit, which are 25. The data of ethnic and salary are both discrete and nominal, while ethnic is qualitative and salary is quantitative. Okay, this histogram shows the relationship between salary and ethnic. Most of the graduate people are having a salary range of 2,580 ringgit until 3,659 ringgit and 3,660 ringgit to 4,739 ringgit, which are 46 people accordingly. Now we are talking about working sector and salary. Both of them are discrete and nominal data, while working sector is qualitative data and salary is quantitative data. Okay. This histogram shows the relationship between salary and working sector. Most of them who are working in private sector are having the salary range of 6,900 ringgit until 7,979 ringgit, which is 40 people. While for the public sector, last but not least, in this objective 3, we are talking about level of work with salary. While both of them are discrete and nominal data, but level of work is qualitative data and salary is quantitative data. This histogram shows the relationship between salary and level of work. Most of the graduate people are having a salary range of 2,580 ringgit until 3,659 ringgit and 3,660 ringgit until 4,739 ringgit.
Next, I would like to present about Objective 4. In Objective 4, we need to analyze and compare CGPA between SPM Max, SPM MX, SPM English, MOEC, total semester, working experience, and salary. The bottom shows the relationship between CGPA and SPM Max. Median for grade 6C is the lowest, which the CGPA is 2.05, while grade 1A is the highest, which the CGPA is 3.63. There's outliers for grade 2B. Shape of the distribution for grade 1A and 5C are skewed to the left. Grade 2B and 3B are skewed to the right, and grade 6C is symmetrical. So we can conclude that most of the graduates obtain grade 2A for SPM Max. The bottom shows the relationship between CGPA and SPM Max. Median for grade 6C is the lowest, which the CGPA is 2.09, while grade 1A is the highest, which the CGPA is 3.9. Shape of the distribution for grade 1A and 4B are skewed to the left. Grade 3B, 5C, and 6C are skewed to the right, and grade 2A is symmetrical. So we can conclude that most of the graduates obtain grade 2A for SPM and Max, which is 119 graduates. The above plot shows the relationship between CGPA and SPM English. Median for grade 7D is the lowest, with the CGPA is 2.09, while grade 1A is the highest, with the CGPA is 3.67. There's outliers for grade 1A. Shade of the distribution for grade 2A, 3B, and 6C are skewed to the left, grade 5C and 7D are skewed to the right, and grade 1A is symmetrical. So we can conclude that most of the graduates obtain grade 1A of SPM English, which is 93 graduates. Based on the scatter plot, we know that the relationship between CGPA and YUAN is a positive linear relationship. Person correlation is applied to find the relationship between CGPA and YUAN because the scatter plot shows linear relationship. By using Excel, we found that person correlation is equal to 0.6272, which means it is nearly to 1. On that, we can conclude that there is strong positive linear relationship between CGPA and YUAN. Based on the scatter plot, we know that the relationship between CGPA and total semester is a negative linear relationship. This graph have two outliers at 6 semesters. Person correlation is applied to find the relationship between CGPA and total semester because the scatter plot shows linear relationship. By using Excel, we found that person correlation is equal to negative 0.6594, which means it is nearly to negative 1. On that, we can conclude that there is a strong negative linear relationship between CGPA and total semester. Based on the scatter plot, we know that the relationship between CGPA and working experience is a positive linear relationship. Person correlation is applied to find the relationship between CGPA and working experience because the scatter plot shows linear relationship. By using Excel, we found that person correlation is equal to 0.0953, which means it is nearly to 0. On that, we can conclude that there is weak positive linear relationship between CGPA and working experience. Based on the scatter plot, we know that the relationship between CGPA and salary is a positive non-linear relationship. There are two outliers between 8,000 to 10,000. Person correlation is applied to find the relationship between CGPA and salary. By using Excel, we found that person correlation is equal to 0.5201, which means it is nearly to 0. On that, we can conclude that there is moderate positive non-linear relationship between CGPA and salary.
Lastly, I will continue the presentation with Objective 5. In Objective 5, we will identify and interpret relationship between salary and total semester, and also relationship between salary and working experience. Based on the scatter plot, we saw that the relationship between salary and total semester is a negative linear relationship. Thus, Pearson correlation is applied to find the relationship between salary and total semester. By using Excel, we found that Pearson correlation is equal to negative 0.559, which means that it is nearly to 0. From there, we can conclude that there is moderate negative linear relationship between salary and total semester. Based on this scatter plot, we saw that the relationship between salary and working experience is a positive linear relationship. Thus, Pearson correlation is applied to find the relationship between salary and working experience. By using Excel, we found that Pearson correlation is equal to 0.297, which means it is nearly to 0. So, we can conclude that there is a moderate positive linear relationship between salary and working experience. In conclusion, the demography of graduates studying SQQS1033 can be described with proper data analysis like mode for qualitative data and the other types of data analysis for quantitative data. There are also some recommendations for the next researcher. First, set up solid objective. Second, improve data collection by using suitable sampling method. Third, ensure the data is accurate, complete, and timely. Lastly, visualize and interpret results for better understanding on the findings so that it helps in decision making. That's all.